If you feel like you're really small, maybe you are.
I'm Dr. Lisa Masterson, and I'm an obstetrician and gynecologist.
My name is Dr. Kia Michelle from Comprehensive Urology. I'm a urologist.
I deal with everything women and men as it involves relationships and sex and fertility.
Today we're going to answer Google's most popular sex questions. It depends on by what you mean by that. So you can certainly have peeling on the outside, you can have peeling on the inside.
It might be discharge, it might be shedding layers. That's something you definitely want to see a doctor about.
If you have that, you also want to make sure that there's no history of diabetes or you're not developing diabetes.
That could be a reaction to a lotion or a soap, sort of a toxic irritant, but it does need to be checked out because nobody wants to walk around with a peeling vagina. If the lips are swollen, then that's definitely not a good thing because you're walking around with something that's, uncomfortable and protruding.
So the inflammation can come about because of trauma, vigorous intercourse or penetration, or vigorous even external rubbing.
It could be a Bartholin's cyst or a Bartholin's abscess. Those things need to be drained by a doctor. If your vagina or the lips, again, are swollen, something you need to go see your doctor about.
What happened before the penis started bleeding?
If you have an STD, that could be another issue.
You can kind of break up the penis into several different segments. One is the urethra. If there's blood coming out of there, then there's been some trauma to the urethra itself. If the urine itself is bloody, you've got to make sure that there's something more serious is not happening. And then there's the external penile skin. You're not going to have too many issues why the penis is bleeding apart from some form of trauma. Sometimes self-inflicted, sometimes with a partner, sometimes by a foreign object. Why is my penis small? That's one of the most commonly asked questions that we have.
I know every guy has a thing about their penis, and really they want to know how a woman's going to react to it.
Turns out that most men are roughly about the same size in terms of length, which is about 6 inches.
We all see these pictures in the porn magazines, and that may be outside of normal.
Most men fit within that average of roughly about 6 inches. So if you feel like you're small, you may not be as small as you think. You may be very, very much normal, very average.
It's like breasts come in different shapes and sizes, so do penises. Oh my God, women have such issues with having sex on their period, and it may be their partner. Some are squeamish, some don't want it to look like a crime scene afterwards.
If that's something you're comfortable with and your partner is, sure.
It can be the time where women have most orgasms because they're well lubricated, they're relaxed, all those hormones are let down, and people should, welcome that and be good with it and then put it down a lot of towels.
You can still get pregnant, so be careful. If you're going to do that, you still need to use some form of protection.
That's kind of a judgment call, and I think it's really up to the person. You have to decide what's comfortable for you, and I think that's really the answer.
For most women who have a urinary tract infection, if you have intercourse, it hurts a lot more, so wait.
There's also called honeymoon cystitis, which is actually a bladder infection you may get on your honeymoon if you have your sex for the first time. And I will tell you, because I had it, you cannot have sex.
Nothing's that urgent. If you can just give yourself a few days of antibiotics, make sure your infection is completely rid up, you're in a much, much better place.
Any infections, you want to get cleared up before you have intercourse. I would imagine what you mean by that is that your hymen stayed intact. And typically it breaks during intercourse for the first time, but that doesn't necessarily have to be.
It's also possible that the partner was so small that that didn't occur, but that's very, very rare for that to happen.
The hymenal ring can actually even burst without intercourse. So it doesn't really matter if it's there or not. It's okay, as long as it's not causing you discomfort. Okay, so you had sex and now you're peeing blood. That's not a good thing.
Most likely you have a urinary tract infection, which causes a lot of inflammation inside the bladder. Go to your physician very quickly, get your urine analysis and your cultures done, and only thereafter take some antibiotics. That should help you quite a bit.
You should call your doctor because there is the plan B that you can take.
Depending on where you are in your last menstrual period, how many times you've actually missed a pill, it could still be an important factor.
And you can actually do this with your own pills and sort of double up, but call your doctor to have them tell you how to do it. It could just be from sex. Sometimes there's a reaction between the semen and the vaginal fluids, and a lot of times that can cause a specific odor.
Probably there's an infection there. Chlamydia, gonorrhea, trichomonas, those are the most common infections that we see in women that cause these types of changes.
It could just be from all that friction going on down there, and it could be something else. It could be that gave you a bacterial infection. So it's just important to get checked out if you do have some odor that you're concerned about that doesn't go away. Maybe they didn't hit all of your right buttons. Everybody has a button, and it may not be a button down there. It may be, on the face. It may be by the ear.
There's so many different factors that go into being able to achieve a good orgasm. Have you been drinking a lot? Have you taken any drugs? Have you done anything else that can potentially change your sensuality, your sensation?
You just have to keep going at it and keep experimenting. You should feel something. That's the idea, is it should be enjoyable. It should be a connection. If you don't actually feel anything, like say you put your finger in and you don't actually feel anything, you definitely want to talk to your doctor about that, because maybe there's some nerve damage or something that's going on that needs to be corrected. Thank you so much for your questions. They were absolutely awesome. People need to know, what their body's like and not be afraid to talk about it.
So remember, while Google and the internet are fantastic resources for so many different things, make sure that the questions that you have, you sit down with a healthcare professional and you speak with them.
Get your diva on, or your guy diva on too. It's so important to love yourself before you invite anybody else to love you.
Be safe, be careful, and understand what your needs are. Know about your partner, and have fun.